Hello, my name is Marcy Nicely, and I will be covering the basics of the initiatives and referendums of the Arizona Constitution. During this video, I will provide the basic definitions of the initiative and a referendum, explain how the initiatives and the referendums are created, compare and contrast the initiative and referendum, as well as discuss the pros and cons of each. Then I will explain how initiatives and referendums support the idea of direct democracy as outlined in the Arizona Constitution. An initiative is when the Arizona Constitution gives the citizens the right to propose a new law or allows the citizens to make changes to an existing constitution independently and without the inclusion of the legislature through this process. The referendum is the proposed law by the legislature that once was passed is put out for citizens to approve or deny through their official vote. This is the most common way to change the Arizona Constitution. So how are initiatives and referendums creative? For initiatives, the Secretary of State creates petitions. This is prepared by joint legislative budget committee staff for a physical review. The proponents may submit a proposed bill to the director of the Legislative Council for review, which counts as the general review of the petition. After a chance for the comment by all legislators, the Legislative Council prepares an impartial analysis with description, background information, and effects for public review or notice. A public pamphlet includes the analysis prepared by the Legislative Council, arguments and or against the financial statement. Public meetings and the posting of the amendments are also held. The Arizona Constitution requires valid signatures from 10% of the votes cast for all candidates for governor or previous elections for statutes and 15% for amendments. For referendums, the application is filed on a form provided by the Secretary of State and must contain the sponsor's name and if an organization, the names and titles of its officers, address, intent to circulate, the file of petition, a description, if not more than 200 words, the principle of its provisions, of the measure, and its full text. The Secretary assigns an official serial number to the petition and assigns numbers to the petition in numerical sequence. The Arizona Constitution requires the number of signatures to be 5% of the number of votes cast for all candidates of governor in the last general election. The legislature shall not have power to repeal a referendum measure passed by a majority of voters. Amending or diverting funds from a referendum measure requires a 3/4 vote of this members of each house of the legislature, and the amendment must be further for purposes comparing and contrasting an initiative and referendum. Arizona's initiative device was intended to provide the public with a mechanism to get around legislatures that refused to take action desired by a majority of the voters. Meanwhile, the referendum was valued to challenge what the legislature had done and recall to remove those from office who were not responding to the constituents' wishes. The initiative process itself was a political neutral. Presently, the initiative process requires organizations to first get clearance from the Arizona Secretary of State to circulate a petition. Then they proceed to gather from registered voters a required number of signatures. If signatures requirements are met, the measure is placed on the next general election ballot, and then the vote is up or down by a simple majority vote. Some pros and cons of the initiative. The advantages are it gives the power of the decision directly to the people. So the more votes they have, that's the winner. The least votes it has, thus loser. It makes the legislature more responsible based on the citizens' ability to address the issues directly. It allows the citizens to hold the legislators accountable. Some disadvantages are it can lead directly to poorly drafted laws because there are no official requirements for the drafts, and any registered voters can create one. There's no expertise involved in the process. This creates a lot for voters to decide on, leading to less informed decisions from voters, and it is more accessible process for well-resourced organizations. Some pros and cons for the referendum. It creates a proposal drafted by the constitutionally sounded experts. It creates policies and procedures that reflect a majority's will. And it creates specific points in negotiating, aligning the priorities and of the politicians with the people. Some disadvantages are it creates divisions among the communities. So if part of the community does not agree with something, it could create diversity, which could lead to hard feelings. It does not allow some people to be in full control of issues that they think that need to happen. It creates further political divide amongst politicians, causing drafts to be stagnant and not pass through legislation and reach the way the people want to vote. So how do initiatives and referendums support the idea of direct democracy as outlined in the Arizona Constitution? Direct democracy is defined as a form of democracy where policies and laws are decided by the citizens rather than entirely by the elected legislature. Initiatives gives voters direct power to adapt or change laws or disapprove of laws passed by legislature. It removes the role of the elective official acting as the middleman and giving full access to the running of the government of the people, where the referendum, the people have the final say on whether the proposal is based or not, showing the outcome of direct democracy. However, the beginning process of the referendum requires legislature to pass the proposal of the majority before it reaches the ballot, showing the example of the representative of democracy. This concludes my presentation of the initiative and the referendums in Arizona. Thank you.